is area B is the point of parity. And I just talked to a couple of groups, two groups, that whose area B is big and ugly. Okay? In fact, I talked to one group that it's only B. All 10 attributes are B. I talked to one group that had 2 area A's, 1 area C, and 7 area B's. Area B is a point of parity. Okay? And I'll tell you, when you're in a point of parity, and it looks like this, and there's very little competitive advantage, you're competing on price like crazy. And the customers are squeezing you for quality and price. And there's no margin here. You must find a way to build your area A. Alright? The reason area A grows over time is this. Okay, now watch this. Over time, every advantage you have evolves to a commodity. Because the customer or the competitor will copy you, or the customer will expect it from everyone. Okay? Take, for example, your computer when you drag a file and drop it. Only Apple computers did that for a long, long time. I don't know about you guys, but I'd never buy a computer anymore that I couldn't drag and drop a file. You just wouldn't do it. You drag it and drop it on another file. You just wouldn't do it. That area B just grew. At one time it was an advantage, and then it grew. Now watch this very carefully. You may say that I want to build my area A by doing what they do. If I do what they do, where does it go? B. Unless I can do it so much better that the customer recognizes a difference. And if I can make it a big enough difference from what they were doing, it's an area A if I can make it a big enough difference. But if the customer doesn't perceive the difference, is what you're doing by imitating these guys is building area B. And area B is not the most profitable place to be. You want area A. So if I'm going to grow by imitating them, I must have something in here to grow that difference. So that my customers sit back and say, this is different. It's different. Go ahead.
But that's going to be transactional, right?
I'll repeat it. What's that? It's going to be what?
Transactional?
Yes, it will be transactional. It will be transactional, absolutely, because all I'm doing is repeating what they do and bringing it up here. You're right. To be truly transformational is what I'm going to do is leapfrog their technology. Good luck with that word, leapfrog. Did you get that? Good. You're going to jump their technology and you're going to bring it up here. It's the only way to do it. It's the only way to do it. Let me ask you this. Was the iPod the first MP3 player? It was not the first MP3 player. There were other companies that had huge area Cs, and then Macintosh comes on board and says, wait a minute, we can do this, and we can do it better. And for the first time, the market said, this isn't an iPod, or this isn't just an MP3 player, this is an iPod. And it was a whole new brand, and people looked at it completely differently, and all of a sudden Macintosh has this huge area A, and Samsung and Sony and all of these others, their area C went, it's amazing. And then Bill Gates wakes up and he says, I can do that too. I'm going to build myself a Zoom. You want to see a Zoom? I've got a Zoom. Why? Really? Exactly. Because I believe Bill. The market, the customer did not perceive Microsoft, that Zoom product, as being different. So it really didn't grow.
Could it be said that Mr. Jobs created a new category for its product?
I would say he didn't create the category. It was already created, but he made the customer understand the category.
Okay.
Yeah, because up until then, how many of you guys had one of those CD players that just scratch the crap out of your CDs? You put your CD in, and every time you bounced it, it just put a... I had one. MP3, my gosh, you can do everything but jump in water with an MP3. Don't jump in water with an MP3. See, but that could be an advantage. You could make one that you could be swimming with you. Yeah. Now you could grow it. That could be in area A. Alright? So, my point is this. If I want a big idea, an innovative idea, if I'm going to copy my competitor, it has to be a big enough change, like iPod, that it becomes an A. And if it's not, it becomes a B. And that's no competitive advantage for you. Alright? Now, I can also take an area B and make it an area A. That's very possible. JetBlue is an airline in the United States that did just that. When you take a look at the airline industry, it's pretty big B. I mean, an airplane is an airplane. Unless you fly Singapore Airlines. Have you ever seen... Oh. Singapore Airlines have stewardesses that are different than they're different than any other airline. Their service is better. They dress differently, and they're just different. Southwest Airlines in the United States is different than any other airline, and their area A is just the fun airline. I mean, I had to fly the red eye, which means from 10 o'clock at night until 5 o'clock in the morning, from Los Angeles to Chicago one night. And I'll tell you, that is the worst flight. The flight down here leaves at 10 o'clock at night and arrives at 7 o'clock in the morning. But you know what Southwest Airlines stewardess did? She got on. They were all mad, tired business people. Mostly men, and we get on the plane and we're mad, we didn't want to be there. The stewardess gets on the microphone and started singing to us. we all felt a whole lot better. Okay, you ready to sing? Okay, she's saying, "Good night, sweetheart. It's time." She's saying, and the bottom line was that it was like, wow, this is a differentiating advantage. I want to fly Midnight Express on this plane every time. This is great. JetBlue put in leather seats for every passenger. They put individual entertainment system for every passenger, every flight. Every seat they treated like it was first class, but there was no first class seats. They were all economy. They took an area B and made it their area A. And when you go in to buy tickets, the line for JetBlue is huge. The line for Delta Airlines, not much. Because they're a big area B. Because they're just like American Airlines, they're just like United Airlines, they're just like every other airline. But JetBlue is something special. Funny thing about JetBlue is that they were landing... And you can watch television. You can watch the news on your little screen. And they were landing at one time in, I believe it was Los Angeles, and the landing gear didn't come down. And so all of a sudden on the news, it shows this Jet Air airplane with a mechanical problem, likely going to crash, and the people in the airplane were watching their airplane. It's a true story. They were watching their airplane. And they finally got the landing gear down, but it was twisted. And there's another jet, they're taking pictures of these guys who say, "Oh crap, we're gonna die!" And it landed. And they watched their airplane smoke up and came to it, and the people got off the plane and said, "We knew exactly what was happening. We watched everything." That's a differentiating advantage? That name was not an advantage. But it's an area A. So it is possible to move B to A. But now here's what you have to watch. If you move this up here, the customer's going to know it, and they're going to come back to the competitor and say, why can't you do that? So if you move this to this, you've got to do it in such a way that this guy can't do it. Can't copy you. Can't imitate you. Because if they do, you've increased your costs, and and they're not going to pay me more. You just increase your costs, and there's no margin. Something over there that I can bring over here in a big enough way that it becomes my area A. Now, here's a sad, sad story. This is a true story. Okay? This is time 1. Firm 1 had a brand new innovation.